After the family photo shoot, I went for a walk on the street with the Silver Dragon Queen and our daughters. In order to get the toy bears that my daughters wanted, even if the vendor tampered with the gun, I still gave it my all and hit all the balloons with my extraordinary abilities. My daughters praised me repeatedly. Even the Silver Dragon Queen couldn't help but marvel at my marksmanship. After taking another toy bear for the Silver Dragon Queen, she asked me to go to her room after dinner. Am I going to be bullied by her again? The weather in Sky City is clear now, with a blue sky enveloping the city. The streets are still bustling with people coming and going. The lively crowd also makes this street appear more vibrant and lively. After finishing the family photo shoot, Leon, Roswitha, and their daughters left the photo studio. Before leaving, Muin happily waved goodbye to Selena. Selena smiled at them and similarly said goodbye to them with a wave and talked to them. The photo development process takes about 6 hours. During this period, Your Majesty can take a stroll around Sky City. There are many small stalls on both sides of the street. Some dragon people are curious about the products on the small stall and stop to chat with the merchants about the situation of the products. Muin excitedly held Noah's hand and ran ahead. Noah, let's go to take a look over there. Noah didn't say anything, but she let Muin take her around to look around. Leon and Roswitha walked slowly behind them. After a short walk, Leon turned his head to speak to Roswitha next to him. I didn't expect to go out for a walk with you one day. It's really novel. Roswitha didn't look at him, but kept looking ahead and replied to him in a rather cold tone. This is all to maintain our family image. Noah values this entrance exam very much, and you have been working hard for almost a month. It's also good to relax occasionally. Walking up to a toy shooting stall, Noah and Muin stopped in their tracks. Muin seemed to have seen something, and her eyes lit up suddenly. It turns out that there is a pair of cute toy bears next to the merchant. She looked at them with joy in her eyes, as if she really wanted to get them. Suddenly, several gunshots came from not far away. Roswitha and Leon coincidentally looked into the distance. They walked nervously towards the direction of the gunshots, afraid that something might happen to their daughters. It turned out that Noah was shooting balloons on the wall with a toy gun. It seemed that she, like Muin, also wanted to get those toy bears. Unfortunately, her bullet didn't seem to hit the balloon. The vendor held a bag full of gold coins and said to her with a smile, "What a pity, kid. You can definitely hit it if you try a few more times." She pursed her lips and stared ahead with some displeasure, clearly dissatisfied with the result. Muin also looked at the intact balloon on the wall with some disappointment. Leon and Roswitha hurriedly walked over and breathed a sigh of relief when they saw the gunshots coming from the toy shooting booth. Leon looked at the stall with great interest. "Oh, there are also shooting games like this here." Muin turned her head and saw father walking over, her expression changing from disappointment to happiness. "Dad." Noah tightly held the toy gun, puffed up her cheeks, and looked at the balloon in front of her with dissatisfaction. "I can't hit it." Leon expressed helplessness towards the idea of the small vendor wanting to make money, silently thinking in his heart, "Ha ha, isn't it? This game is about you not hitting the target, so the vendor can make money Noah handed Leon the toy gun, with a dissatisfied expression on her face. Leon stared at the toy gun and remembered seeing similar stalls before. I have seen similar stalls before at a human market. Roswitha also seemed interested in this gun. She leaned forward and took a closer look, then immediately analyzed the situation of the gun. The bullets of this toy gun are gathered with magical energy, and there are certain requirements for the precise control of magical energy, which is indeed difficult for Noah. The vendor noticed that the parents of the children came over. He put on a flattering smile and said to them, "Do you want to give it a try? As long as you hit all the balloons within 10 shots, you can take away this pair of toy bears." Your daughters look very interested. However, the vendor's thoughts are not limited to this. He secretly chuckled in his heart. "Hey, I make it a point to let little kids try out the game, and just to entice their parents over to make a killing." Leon lowered his head and looked at Noah and Muin, asking for their opinions. "Do you want that pair of toy bears?" Noah turned her head shyly. "No." Muin also lowered his head awkwardly, 2 fingers touching each other and stuttering. Muin doesn't want it either. It seems that the 2 good children also don't want their father to waste money playing this fruitless game. Although the daughters said they didn't want toy bears, Leon immediately sensed their true intentions. "I get it. They mean what they want." Leon confidently walked up to the vendor and pointed with his finger at Roswitha standing behind him. "Please give me 10 bullets. She give you the money." "Haha, okay. The vendor repeatedly agreed and looked at Roswitha. At this moment, Roswitha suddenly realized that Leon wanted her to give the money herself. She frowned slightly and silently gave the money to the vendor. He smiled and said, "Thank you." Leon found a suitable posture, looked ahead with a firm gaze, and raised his gun towards the balloon in front of him. "It's been a while since I've held a gun. The last time was at the Dragon Slaying Academy." After adjusting everything, Leon first fired a bullet at the balloon. Unfortunately, the balloon on the wall was still intact, and even the bullet landed not far from the balloon. Leon looked back and forth at the gun in his hand, lost in thought. The vendor stood behind Leon and watched as Leon looked a little confused at the gun. He turned around and sneaked a wicked grin. "I've tampered with the gun so that whoever is coming won't be able to hit the target easily." But the next second, there were 5 gunshots and 5 explosions from the side. Leon raised his gun and fired 5 rounds at the balloon wall like he did earlier. As a result, this time, 5 balloons were hit by the bullets. The vendor widened his own eyes, his expression changing from ecstatic to shocked. "What?" Leon was quick-witted and fired bullets at the remaining balloons. But without exception, they all hit. He confidently turned the toy gun in his hand and explained the situation to the vendor. "The first shot was a test of accuracy, but I didn't expect to hit them all in the end. It's so lucky." The vendor couldn't believe his eyes at all. "This is impossible." Seeing her father hit all the balloons, Muin excitedly praised Leon. "Dad is great." Noah also looked at Leon with some admiration, her eyes full of envy. "That's great." Standing beside and watching the whole process, Roswitha couldn't help but smile and make an evaluation of Leon. Not bad. Watching Leon hit all the balloons, the vendor had no choice but to hand over the pair of toy bears to Leon. Wow, this is your prize. He silently cursed Leon in his heart while handing him the prize. Take it and leave quickly. Although he didn't know why Leon was able to hit all the balloons, he clearly didn't want Leon to stay here and affect his future business. Leon happily took toy bears and thanked the vendor. Thank you. He squatted down and handed the 2 toy bears to Noah and Muin respectively. This is for you. Muin looked at the toy bear in her hand and thanked Leon very happily. Thank you, Dad. Although Noah didn't react much, she still thanked him. Thanks. Leon watched as the daughters got the toys they wanted and slowly smiled back. Standing aside, Roswitha was somewhat stunned by Leon's serious attitude towards things. This guy is usually a little less reliable, but every time he gets serious, he always has a special charm. At this moment, Leon suddenly looked up at Roswitha. She crossed her arms around her chest and stood empty-handed in the distance, looking in his direction. Roswitha also noticed Leon's gaze. She looked at him with some confusion. Why is he watching me? Leon suddenly realized what he had to do next. After leaving the toy shooting stall, the 4 of them continued to take a walk on the street. Noah and Muin, holding the bear, were already walking at the forefront, while Roswitha and Leon continued to follow behind them. When a mother and daughter passed by them, Little Dragon pointed enviously at the thing in Roswitha's hand. Mom, I also want that. Roswitha held a particularly large teddy bear in her hand and walked down the street, attracting the attention of passers-by. Her eyes stared blankly ahead, seeming somewhat surprised by the sudden appearance of the toy bear. Leon laughed triumphantly and walked ahead of Roswitha. Ha ha ha! Did you see the uncomfortable expression on that unscrupulous merchant's face at the end? This is his retribution. He recalled that when he suggested playing shooting again. The vendor's expression of reluctance made him laugh uncontrollably. As it turned out, unsurprisingly, Leon quickly took another toy bear. Roswitha looked at Leon, who was still feeling proud, and frowned slightly, obviously not satisfied with his approach. If it were me to handle it, I would only advise them not to waste time on that childish game. However, Leon didn't care about the game just now. He turned around and said to her, "It's good that they're having fun." He saw that Roswitha was not very happy, so he pointed to the toy bear in her hand and asked her, "What's up? Don't you like it?" Roswitha impatiently replied to him, "I said I don't want it anymore." Leon recalled the scene he had just seen and said to her, "You're already here. You can't go back empty-handed, right?" Roswitha couldn't say anything for a moment. She leaned her chin against the toy bear's head, shyly staring at it, silently thinking to herself, "Bears are just unappetizing food that doesn't even satisfy hunger, but they are made into toys. Well, they are quite cute." She walked briskly in front of Leon, a blush on her face that was hard to hide. "After dinner tonight, come to my room." Leon looked incredulously at the receding figure of Roswitha and shouted in surprise, "Huh?" Time came to night, and they had returned to Silver Dragon Castle. The stars and moon shrouded the entire castle. After dinner, Leon changed out of his daytime clothes and headed to Roswitha's room. He walked down the hallway, feeling conflicted inside. Roswitha invites me to her room. It's been late at night, and there's only one man and one dragon in the room. Something will definitely happen if I go to her room. He closed his eyes nervously. Recalling his past experiences, he was very distressed whether he really wanted to go to her room. If I go, I'll feel uncomfortable all night. If I don't go, I'll feel uncomfortable for a week. Without noticing, Leon had already walked to the door of the room. No matter, his small step forward is his big step forward. Leon suddenly mustered up his courage and prepared to knock on the door of Roswitha's room. Damn, I'll fight her. Before his hand even touched the door, a bright light emanated from the crack. The door of the room was not locked. Is the door unlocked? Leon pushed the door open and looked around, only to find that there was no one in the room. Roswitha's room is silver white with gold accents. There are many books on the bookshelf. It seems that she also has a habit of reading on a regular basis. The toy bear he gave her in the morning was placed nervously on the bedside. Leon heard the sound of water coming from the side. He turned his head and realized that Roswitha was still taking a shower in the bathroom. I'm early. She's still taking a shower. Through the glass door, Leon seemed to be able to see Roswitha taking a shower in the bathroom. He silently evaluated the quality of the door in his heart. The quality of this glass doesn't seem very good. Leon suddenly knew something, with a surprised expression on his face, and quietly stepped back. She's really going to do that tonight, right? He shook his head from side to side, trying to shake the bad thoughts out of his head and calm himself down. Calm down, Leon. Just as Leon was still wrestling with his thoughts, the bathroom door was open. Roswitha walked out in a purple halter nightdress. There were droplets of water that she hadn't wiped off, and a faint steam was still emanating from her entire body. You're here. So, let's get started. Leon had a bitter expression on his face, feeling that his body was going to be in danger again. Am I going to be exhausted again? Extra story. The family photos had been developed and completed. There were some envelopes containing photos placed on the table. Noah and Muin opened the envelope and carefully examined the photo. Mom and Dad are a perfect match. Muin excitedly held up a photo of Leon and Roswitha and evaluated them both. Noah quietly looked at the photo in her hand without saying a word. While flipping through other photos, Leon noticed a card attached to the back of one of them. He looked at the card with some confusion. There is a card attached to this photo. Roswitha also noticed the card. What? Give me a look. They came close together and read the sentence on the card. I hope silver radiance will forever shine in the eyes of those I love. After finishing the sentence, the air suddenly fell silent for a few seconds. Suddenly, Roswitha and Leon blushed and took the initiative to distance themselves from each other. Who is in love with him? Roswitha turned her back to Leon and took the photo away with a displeased expression. There must be something wrong. Let me handle this one. Leon looked in the other direction nonchalantly and put his hands behind his head, without looking directly at Roswitha. Exactly. This card must have been written incorrectly.